In this module, we develop a new video core we call a sprite core. So a sprite is just a small bitmap image that is generally overlaid on top of a much larger scene or what we call a background. So in here, I'm showing you a couple of sprite examples, a mouse pointer sprite, which is 12 pixel wide by 20 pixel high, and a ghost sprite, which is basically 16 by 16 pixel width and height. So in both cases, you'll see that basically the sprite size is much smaller than the screen it will be overlaid on top, which is in our case will be the VGA resolution, which is the 480 by 640 pixels. In any case, these both are actually sprites, so they're much smaller images. And what I'm showing you in here, the reason why I'm showing you a couple is the following. We have the mouse pointer is an example of what we call a static sprite, and the ghost is what we call, or what I would call, a dynamic sprite. So a dynamic sprite, because it's basically the ghost sprite is just 4 images, and I'm just displaying them one after the other, and it appears as if the ghost is just looking around. In any case, both of these sprites can be displayed anywhere on the screen. So for example, I'm moving my mouse pointer in here, and we will be able to actually move the ghost sprite anywhere we want on the screen. So developing the core involves the CPU. So you can completely develop a core that utilizes the CPU 100% to generate the image, display it, decide its location, it moves it around, and actually for the dynamic is just to display these 4 images. Or we can actually just develop this in hardware. And because we are developing an SoC and we have access to the hardware, we're gonna just adopt the hardware side or the hardware approach. So the ultimate goal of this particular module is to develop hardware cores where we'll be developing two, one for the mouse and one for the ghost. And in both cases, there'll be hardware. So the hardware will generate the image for the mouse or the ghost, and it will just move it around. Basically, we'll place it wherever we want on the monitor. So that will free the processor to do some other stuff. So the way that the processor will interact with these cores is very sporadic. So the processor only needs to interact with that video core when it wants to move it around the much larger scene. So for example, the processor will tell, okay, the mouse pointer, you should be moving. However, the hardware itself is the one generating the mouse pointer pixel values, and it is doing the blending with the background image. So in both of the video cores, we will be generating basically a full screen that is 480 by 640 VGA. However, only a very small portion of it will contain these particular information in here or particular values for the mouse pointer and the ghost, and the rest of it will be the chroma key, which in our case is 0. And the reason why we generate a chroma key is because we'll also implement a chroma key blender that will take the background image, will take this particular image, and it will basically overlay or combine or blend the two layers the layer we're generating and the layer we're receiving from the background, so that it appears as if we have a mouse pointer moving or a ghost moving on a much larger scene.